I manifested an acting job, an actor's job with no experience ever. I didn't even apply for an audition, nothing. There was nothing. So I don't know if this can be even termed as a method to manifest something because even I don't know what method that is and whether it can be replicated or not. Although I'm sure that you'll find some learning from this. So it was 2022 and we had just come out of the second wave of the scamdemic, pandemic, whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it. And I was a musician even at that time, a freelance musician. So the world had just started like opening up, and I had slowly started getting gigs, etc. And I was sitting in a room one day in the morning after breakfast, very relaxed, and I just thought, and I was 42 at that time. I was like, I look pretty good for my age. I mean, I have a nice haircut and etc. It would be so funny if I could just get paid for my looks. What if I could just get paid for existing? That was a thought because it was very audacious at that time, and I just smiled to myself, thinking, "Oh, what a funny, silly thought." That's it, and I let it go. In about 2 days, I kid you not, I was on Instagram at that time, and I received a DM from a casting agent, a casting director rather, and he said that there was this web series that they were casting for, and they looked at my profile and they thought that I would be a good fit. Would I like to come down for an audition? And they had their number and credentials and their Instagram page, so it looked legit. So I called them up, and the next day I was at audition. And when I reached there, it was to play a part of a musician, but it had a certain accent. The character had a certain accent to it, etc. And there were two, three people there in the casting room with a camera, and I was really awkward. I had never been in this situation before, and I have never wanted to be in this situation before. Oh, let's try for auditions. Let's see what. No, nothing. So I told them, and so they gave me a script, okay, and then I told them, listen, guys, I don't even know what to do, like how to read these lines and whether I should overact, like really be in character or be very casual. I said, I'm a musician, I've never done this before. And they said, okay, let's do one thing, forget about the lines for now. It's okay. We just need to send this tape to the director first. So why don't you do a self test? So they pointed the camera at me and they said, just say your name out aloud, and what do you do, and just say something about yourself, your age, etc. So I looked into the camera and I said, hi, my name is Krishna and I am 42 years old. So when I said 42, they both like looked at each other and they looked back at me. I said, what happened? So they were like, no, please continue. And anyway, I gave that little audition and I went back home. I was feeling quite funny about it. Anyway, after 2 or 3 days, I received a call again and said that there is one more round of auditions, this time with other actors, also shortlisted actors. So that happened. Then one more audition happened. Then one more audition happened, and finally, after roughly a month, I received a call saying you have been finalized, and that's it. And then in about 2.5 months we actually started shooting. So we shot the first leg of the shoot happened in the Himalayas, in fact, in an extremely beautiful but very arduous location, that too in the month of December in the Himalayas. Can you imagine? And we had crazy schedules, 15-hour work days, up on our feet. And well, that happened. Then we went to Jaipur, then we shot some outside Mumbai as well. And well, uh, over the course of like a year and a half we shot, and then the series came out. It's out on Prime, uh, Amazon Prime. It's called Bandish Bandits season 2. You can spot me in there. And that's it. That is what happened. When I look back on it, I did a couple of things, okay. Number one is that I did not have anything to lose. You know, it's not like I was a known actor, or I have been the or that I had been struggling for a long time and then this was my big break. No, it just, I was like, yeah, this will be fun if it does happen. And um through, in between the auditions also, I kept, I don't know why, I just knew that I was going to be selected. And I would imagine, so this was my deliberate thing that I did during that time, is that I would imagine me standing in my friend's living room, but invisibly, but I could see the scene where my friends are talking amongst each other. They're pointing to the screen. Oh my God, that is Krishna! Look, look, look! And I would see the excitement and happiness on their faces, and that's something that I did maybe once or twice. And I just knew that this was going to happen, and well, it did. It was a beautiful experience, and yeah. uh, so this is something that happened, this is something that I did, and I now know that it happened because I was unknowingly applying the law of assumption, unknowingly applying the beautiful laws of manifestation. I did not think in opposition to it. That was a very big thing. What happens is that when we are very invested in an outcome, uh, we have thought about that outcome a lot. There has been a history with the outcome, with this subject, that people have spoken either negatively to us about it, or we have experienced something extremely negative about a person or a situation. Then we get very invested in it, and then that's when it actually slips from us. The quote unquote complete manifestation on the outside sometimes doesn't happen, but when you care about something very less, it doesn't matter whether it happens or not. That's when it actually comes true. So that's something to definitely take note of. Another amazing thing about this whole thing was that my then age was not even a factor, in this. It's only later on that I came to know, when I actually got to know the cast and crew and the people, the important people, the directors and the producers of the show, that they then told me that my age at that time when I started shooting was 42, and I was playing like a mid 20s or late 20s character. And why should that happen, right? Like, it's not like I was the only suitable candidate they had. I don't know how it sort of worked behind the scenes, but then they later on told me that some of them were a little skeptical of my age showing on screen or not, and whatever. I don't know how they worked it out. I never asked them. I never bothered with it. I never thought that my age was any kind of uh, speed breaker or an impediment to this process. I never thought about it. And well, it never was an impediment then. So what does all of this tell you? Please let me know in the comments. um, I think when I look back upon it, there is a lot of learning for me as well to apply in the other areas of my life. So yes, this is my story of how I manifested an actor's role with no experience, didn't even want to do it, and I was much older for the role, but it didn't matter. It was great. It is one of the most precious experiences that I've had in my life. Yeah. See you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please write them below.